we all set? All right, you've seen this one before. What we're going to do is why on earth there is an asset register. What's the whole point of it? Then we're going to explain why it's different from all the other layers. We'll go through the asset register itself, having answered the most frequently asked question, and then you're going to have a go yourself.
Okay, great.
At the end of that, we might find this to be a shorter session than some of the others. So we'll see. Okay, so one of the reasons for an asset register is to try and wean people off paper. When you disappear off on your holidays and take the key to the filing cabinet with you, nobody else can do anything. So because you're famous for that, we've said we should get the system out of the filing cabinet and onto a 24/7 available digital system where it's always available to as many people as you like at the same time. There's a major insurance issue because the more the insurance company is sure that you A, have your assets properly registered, and B, have them registered with them, and C, have them up to date as far as the replacement cost is concerned. And so it goes, and so it goes, and so it goes. So lots of reasons for insurance to really like you to have an asset register. It's then much easier for you to see and understand where the graphics, the assets are. That's not for you particularly, but more for other people on the council who are often talking about something with which they may not be familiar. So it helps be able to see it. Guess what? Insurance plays a large part in this. We've mentioned the data being accessible 24/7, and that insurance is still there. Much easier reporting. Once you've got the data in there, it's so much simpler to just push a button and out come the details that you need, whether it be for your sort of inspections, whether it be for maintenance, whatever it happens to be. Insurance people like you to have an asset register, and you can attach any number of attachments to each record. So if you have, for instance, responsibility for, let's say, park benches, then A, you can do a photograph of each one as it is now. And then you can say, well, we'll inspect these every 12 months. And you can take a photograph before each inspection and then after each inspection to show what you did, whether you repainted it, whether you stained it again, whether you repaired broken slats, whatever it happens to be, you've got proof that you did it, which is really good if there's an insurance claim. And often you get sort of the sort of thing that grandma sat down on your bench and she fell off and broke her hip, and now we want you to pay for it. And it really helps you if you can say, actually, we have a routine by which we inspect the benches every 12 months and then we repair them. And look, here's that particular bench, and it was reported as being in perfect condition after its inspection 2 months ago. And that really helps. So I don't know if I've mentioned insurance so far, but you do need to, you find that the insurance companies love you if you've got a proper asset register.
It doesn't ring any bells.
Really? Okay, so the idea is that in terms of insurance, it really helps if the record keeping is in good condition, and having it digitally is much easier. And then we can, basically what we've just said, if you can show that you have got a policy for inspecting it at particular dates or intervals, and then you can show that you, lo and behold, you did do the inspection, and then you've got the inspection reports and you've got photographs. When it comes time for the insurance company to defend you against the claim, then this really makes all the difference in the world. And again, once you've got the system up and running, then keeping the data up to date and accurate is far easier than a paper system. So those are the reasons for having an asset register. Now let's just show you where they're different. So you're very familiar with third-party layers. They're the most numerous that we have, and they're all read-only. You can lay them on to anything you like, but you can't change them. Parish layers, on the other hand, are completely the opposite. You can create whatever you like. You can make any changes you like. You can scrap them and start again. You can do everything with parish layers. And then we have the asset register, where the structure, the style, and the geometry is all done for you, what I like to call the infrastructure. And all you have control of is the data. On the other hand, you can indeed write that data, you can change it, you can edit it, you can remove it. So it's sort of a mixture of the two, if you will. And because the asset register is the same for everybody using Parish Online across the country, if you need changes to what they've already provided, you have to do it yourself in a complementary parish layer, which you then display at the same time as the asset register, which is what I think quite a lot of people end up doing. The asset register itself is not cast in stone. If you have a particular request, they will make changes accordingly, but they make the changes for everybody. So a typical one at the moment is street lighting. So more and more councils are finding they need to record whether it's a fluorescent street light, whether it's a sodium street light, whether it's LEDs. Is it standing on a concrete pole? Is it a steel pole? Is it a fiberglass pole? Whatever it is, all these things need to be recorded, and there's nowhere to record that at the moment in the asset register. So I know that the Parish Online people are looking to see what changes they need to make as a result of particularly in demand for the street lighting. So it's not fixed. So I told you we'd talk about the most frequently asked question, and people always say, may I import the data from my existing spreadsheet? And cheerfully, the most usual answer is no. And the reason for that is because your spreadsheet won't have any location data. So Parish Online is absolutely dependent upon the geography of where things are. And the vast majority of spreadsheets don't retain that at all. You know, you may have a list of all the park benches, but I bet you don't have a geographical listing of where they are that the Parish Online can understand. So usually the answer is no. If you have huge spreadsheets of data, then Parish Online themselves are prepared to help you if you can give them some idea of where each item is. And usually by the time you've done that, you might just as well have put the stuff in into the system manually. So that's why the answer is usually no. And there are exceptions to the rule, but not very frequent. So that's the bad news over for the day. Basically, you're going to have to do it yourself. However, there is one area where the infrastructure is not the same as everywhere else, and we'll cover that in a moment. Fortunately, it's in the very first layer. So you'll find that all the same questions are asked, or all the same data records are kept for every item in every layer except one. And the first thing you decide where you're going to put your asset data is you need to determine which layer of all these layers on the left it belongs in. And usually they're fairly obvious, but not always. So if we click on buildings, you'll see that this is the one that has the one field or column which is different from everybody else. So they all have exactly the same questions in them, except for this one. The unique property reference number is, funnily enough, unique just to the buildings, because every building in the country, and I confess I didn't know this, but every building in the country has its own unique number, and Parish Online likes to record it because that's the way, guess what, how the insurance companies recognize it. When you say your village hall has burnt down, they're much happier if you can say, building number 456789 has burned down. And they say, you poor people, will pay you now. So you're familiar with required fields, and you'll notice that this field is required.
Yeah.
And that's the same for all the records. Okay, so what differs in each of these is that depending on which layer you're in, the list of categories under which to categorize things varies. So we're just going to click on this box and show you these are the categories if you're in the buildings layer, and then it changes for every other layer that you get. So there are lots and lots of layers in some of these. This is a scrollable list here. So one of the fastest ways to determine where you want to be is to type it in the first few letters, and it'll jump to that. So that's if you're sort of up here and you're saying, which of the layers do I want to try out? You can just type in the first few letters. We're going to type in now the losing my sense this afternoon. We're going to type in building contents and show you how the list of categories varies. So we're going into here. It's now become building contents, and you can see this list has changed completely. So it's very important that you only keep your Christmas lights in your building contents, Georgie, and no good sticking them under the stage in the village hall, because that isn't where they belong. All right, so lots of categories available. The best place to see a list of all the layers and all the categories is in the knowledge base. If you go into help and support in the knowledge base, or sorry, in the top right corner of Parish Online, you can see a full list and a very useful video which shows you how to do everything. And this is how you get there. I recommend that you go to the knowledge base from within Parish Online, but once you get there, save this as a favorite, because you can go back into the knowledge base without having to go through Parish Online. So the knowledge base is a completely separate system, and you can get to it directly. And sometimes you can save quite a lot of time by just jumping into there and saying, I wonder what category this should be in, and you can jump into here and it'll tell you.
Okay.
So this is all very long-winded and loaded, but this is much more fun when we get there. So if you have a spreadsheet at the moment of your assets, then it helps to really save, it saves time if you annotate each row in your spreadsheet with the right layer and category that you're going to put it into. So as we said before, we go to your knowledge base, you type in asset register, and you can see the entire list, which is well worth printing out. Never mind the trees that you're going to involve in this. And then you go through your spreadsheet and you put in the correct details for each item, and then it makes putting it in manually very much quicker. Then other hints and tips we've mentioned, you know, keep a record of attachments for showing the maintenance reports and everything that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
You can only add attachments after you've actually created the record in the first place. So you go back, you enter it, you save it, and then you go back into it again in edit mode, and then you have the ability to do attachments. Again, I think you've probably already done this, but we'll be doing it today for fun.
Cool.
And there's going to be a way I'm going to show you how you select dates very quickly in Parish Online, and for the life of me, I can't remember if I show it to you on here or whether I have to go into, yeah, I'm going to do a complete demonstration. In fact, probably knowing you, you're already here. Are you on your system? Are you in Parish Online? Are you in the asset register?
Yes.
Georgie, you're a star. You're really one of my favorite students. It's brilliant. So you might like to try doing this then. So in the asset register, select building, right click on it and add a feature. Select whatever feature you like, but I'm suggesting the village hall. I'm going to show you how you get the UPRN.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in your normal Parish Online, I'm just going to switch over to that now. At least I might do. Let me just come out of this a second. Stop that share, go into Parish Online. It should be there. There. There we go. Parish Online is there. Going to the knowledge base. Okay. If we go into addresses and we click, say we want the address plus points, and then you go into any of your addresses. I'm sure you've seen this, haven't you?
Yeah, I think you showed this to me when I was
right. If you click on any one of these, it'll pop up with the data record, and you'll see that this is the whole point of this, is the first field here after the postal address is the unique property reference number. And you need to cut and paste this into your asset register. So every building in the country has a UPRN. You find the UPRN by going to the building and clicking on it. the numbers here, and then you take that and you paste it into your asset register for the same building. So again, you've probably already done this, knowing you. But if you are in your parish online now and you're putting in, let's just say for argument's sake, the village hall, or you're not, you're a Sevenoaks, aren't you? You'll be a town hall. You're important, big people. You can put the unique property reference number in for yourself, and you'll have made a major step forward today.
So I think I'll do it for the Stag Community Theatre because I recently put that on.
Okay.
That's one of the ones that I was and ahhing about, thinking, oh, but it's a building, but we also own the car park. So I wanted to be able to show both of them. But I'm gonna log it as, I'm gonna do one each for them, like you said.
Yes. Okay.
The other day. Is that more work, or shall I just?
No, I think the way you're doing it is the sensible way. Keep the actual property as a land item, and then you can show the land item and the building at the same time. They put the two layers on at once, and then it's all there.
Yeah.
So we can do that now if you'd like. You want to share your screen?
Yeah, can do. Hang on. How do I? So I've done that for.
Oh, look at that. That's really grand.
This one. So that's the building and that's the land, actual land that's owned. And then I've done the UPRN things, which I did just then with no, I did it whilst you were talking it through yourself. I did it at the same time.
You're wonderful. I gonna have to keep this recording as an example of how it's supposed to be done. This is truly first class. Well done.
Thank you.
Let me mention whilst we're here, you see down about halfway down, there's a field called replacement value. So the reason that that's there is that nowadays, and I confess to being surprised when I discovered this, but nowadays, if you say your village hall is on fire and there's nobody inside and no other property is troubled, the fire company will just let it burn down, all right? They won't try to put the fire out anymore because that's potentially dangerous to their people. You know, there's smoke inhalation, something might explode if their people get too close. You know, they've lost firemen in the past.
Yeah.
And they've now got to the point, they say, what's the point? Just let the whole thing burn down. And because we've got a replacement value, we'll rebuild it. So there's a funny story about this. When I took over as the treasurer of our village hall committee, I looked at the value of the village hall, and it was valued for £600,000. And for the life of me, I could not see how this straightforward building on a straightforward plot in the middle of nowhere could ever have a value of £600,000. So I talked to BHIB, which is the broker for Aviva. Do you know about BHIB?
Don't think so.
Okay, well, it's worth knowing that BHIB, if you place your insurance through them, they will pay for your parish online.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's worth doing. It's not a huge savings in money, but every little bit helps. Anyway, I talked to them and they said, oh, look, we've got a desktop calculator piece of software. You can get hold of that and it'll tell you what you should be insuring your building for. So I said, thank you very much. Please send it to me. And they said, well, that'll cost you £100. And I said, well, it's going to be worth it to save, you know, on the insurance costs. So down came this piece of software. I stuck in the details of our building and it came back and said, you're absolutely right. £600,000 is completely the wrong number. It should be 1.2 million.
Oh, wow.
I was astonished, but you know, obviously they know better than I do what it takes to rebuild a building, but I just had no idea. So we ended up paying more for our insurance on the building, but at least we now know that if it does burn down, we'll be able to replace the entire thing.
So instead of spending £100 to save money.
Well, yes, it's very difficult to explain to the village that the village hall is built down and we're only going to be able to replace 3/4 of it because we didn't insure it for enough money. So that replacement value is an important one. And just so that you know, you can call up your insurance broker and get them to either send you a desktop calculator, which sounds expensive, but it's just a piece of software that you put on your PC.
Yeah.
and let you recalculate the values of all of your properties that way, and then you get the right figure. And literally the last valuation date, the frequency, and the inspection date and inspection frequency, they're all the things I was talking about, that if they're completed, then the insurance company has a much better chance of defending you against any claim that's made, or paying you if you yourself have to make a claim. So clear enough?
Yeah.
Good. And then if you look down your record, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that you can add an attachment in the middle now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and that can be anything. It can be a photograph of the building. Certainly you want before and after shots if there's been a fire or a flood or a burst pipe or something. Then again, evidence is marvelous for insurance companies. They like to see that there has really been that damage. So yes, add lots of attachments, take lots of photographs, and keep the inspection information up to date. One last little point. You see where it says last inspection date or last valuation date?
Yeah.
All it records there is the last time you did it. So in order to prove that you inspected it the previous year or the previous 6 months or whatever it was, you need to take a screen snapshot and save that as an attachment. So if, for instance, you inspected it on the 1st of February this year, and you're going to do it on the 1st of July, then take a screenshot of this record whilst it still says 1st of February. And then you can save that as an attachment. And it's there as proof of what it was, that you're doing a good job of due diligence, good governance. But unfortunately, that last inspection date, which I think should be kept as an archive so that you can go back to it and say, look, I can show you that I've been doing it every 6 months or whatever. They don't do that in the database. So you're going to have to do it with photographs or screenshots. Okay. So let me just, if you would stop sharing, let me just go back and see. Well, I don't need you to stop sharing now. Let me just go and see what else we need to talk about. We've talked about, naming your attachments advantageously. So if you start putting attachments into your records, you pretty quickly start building up a pretty long list of attachments. And then later on, working out which one you want to look at can be tricky. So you need to name them cleverly. And usually it's a good advantage to put the date in first, and then in order for the dates to sort in chronological order, or the records to sort in chronological order, you need to put the date in the format YY, MMM, or rather MMDD, backwards.
Yeah.
You're probably familiar with that.
Yeah, I have to do it in my agenda folders, and it drives me mad because I can never remember.
Well, I'm reminding you that it
makes
sense to do the same thing here. Okay, let's go back to, you still got the screen. What we're going to do now, if you haven't seen it, go back to you. Yes, there we are. Oh, okay. You're going to share your screen again?
Yeah.
It's a much better principle that you do the work than I do it. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a look at, say, the last, go into edit mode, if you would, for this record. Click on the pencil, and now go down to, say, date purchased. All right, so scrolling back to 1949 or whenever this building was built, it takes forever. But if you click on the date itself, oops. So click on May 2022. Yeah. No. Click on May.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, all right. Now you can go back to the years, go back to 1969 or whenever it was you're building it, and then select the month and then select the day. But it's much quicker. Yeah. That's all. That's just a little tip to say this is how you do it.
Yeah, I thought it would be once it's in there like that, you can then type it, because you can do that sometimes.
Well, I don't think they're that. Can they do it here? I don't think they let you, do they?
No, not on this one.
No, they're real pains. They're real pains in the neck. Bit anal now and again. Our people at Parish Online. But so that's the way to quickly find your way through the dates. So that's my useful tip. Let's see what else I'm going to tell you. Date selection, screenshots to capture states. Yes. Naming the attachment sensibly. And we don't need to demonstrate adding an attachment because you've done that many times over. Oh, let me go into the next slide. Sorry, next one. Okay, we were going to do a table view, which I think you probably know this anyway, but let's go back to you. If you now go down and yes, exactly, just go into table view.
That's how many I've done so far. Hang on, no, that's
yeah. Well, what I wanted to show you is
that's less impressive. Let me go to the land one.
Okay,
that's a bit better.
So the point of this was just to show you that you can make changes here without having to go to each and every record. So if you wanted to say, I need to change all of the car park spaces, there's something I need to change them, you can do them all from here. And you can filter. So if you want to put the filter in, exactly, yes, you know about this. Let's go for all the ones that are called parks, for instance. So do a category name. Yeah, no, go down, contains, yeah, well, no, category.
No.
Okay, yeah, exactly, man. Yep, okay. Is that a category? No, you need to be in, see where your name is category. You are so smart, okay. So if you go, let's see, I'm going to move my photograph a little bit. Oh, you've already done it. You've just got the 3 records. Perfect. Okay, so you obviously now know how the filter works. If you click on the little box to the right of the value box at the top, those little 3 dots and lines there,
yeah,
you can input maximum 2 items to search on. So you can put parks, you can put public spaces, and you can put halls. So it'll find out all 3 of those things. And say village hall or whatever, well, that'll be the same one because they're all the same. But if you go and add it one more time, you can add, I don't know, village hall or town hall or something, whatever another one is. Does it make any difference to say that? No, it doesn't. You haven't got anything in a category called hall. The whole point is that you put in multiple filters if you wish. Okay.
Oh, I thought it would just give me this one.
No, it's got to be in the field category.
Okay, hang on.
Oh, right. Oh, look at that. Okay.
Haha.
Yes, well done. All right. Good for you. So the last thing to show you in this screen is the feature I like is if you just maybe I don't like it. It's not here, is it? Let me just check. That's just okay. That's everything in the table view from here. So sorry, what I mean is I covered all the points I wanted to make.
Okay.
The last thing to show you for the registry, Georgie, is if you go back to your main maps, the main menu. So yes, go up to tools.
Tools.
At the top, very, very top, first row menu.
Oh yeah.
Tools, up. There we go. On to tools. Yep. Go down to asset register export. And it comes up like this, and it asks you which format you like. Now, at the moment, the only choice, I think, just try it, but I think the only choice is PDF. The first one, go at the top, format, yeah.
Yeah, still PDF.
What we've asked them to give us the CSV version, because it's really convenient to export everything into a spreadsheet. But at the moment, they haven't done that, but we've asked them, and I'm going to ask you in a minute to pitch in and join in and make your voice heard. So the second item is in the second item there where it says layers, it automatically selects everyone for you. If you want a report that excludes one of those layers, you just tick it or untick it. So just say building content exactly. And now you can go ahead and run the report and it will leave out the CCTV because you don't have any. Or then you can go down to the next bit. If you say include maps and parish boundaries, it will automatically put a map into every single item so that the insurance company can see where it is. That takes a huge amount of reporting time. So don't do it unless you really want it. And by the same token, there's no point in including the rows that have zero entry unless you particularly want to show the zero entry rows. But so now if you click on generate report, it should whir away for a little bit. It is, I promise you, it's doing something, but it's doing it all up in the cloud. And when it finishes, the open button will become live like it has now. So there's your report, 10 pages of it. This is the sort of thing that you want to send to your insurance company when your current contract with them is about to expire. So this is where you go out and look for quotes, you know, for competitive quotes. You can send this to 3 different sets of brokers, and they've got all the information they need about what it is they're actually insuring for you. So that's the point of this report. It's really helpful because it's taken you at least 10 seconds of your precious time to generate. And doing this with the spreadsheet is a real pain in the neck. But doing it through here is a piece of cake. I'm still saying that we want them to change it to give you the choice of producing it as a CSV file as well as a PDF. But at the moment, the PDF is what we've got. Okay. Yeah. So let me just see where we stand now in our report. Yeah, we've done that. Done that. Done that. Okay, yes, data extract. So if we come back to your screen and we come out of this report. Yep. Now you can do a data extract on anything. So if you right click in your little theater or whatever it is you happen to be, you want to come out of the export, sorry, yep, there. Just right click in there. Oh, sorry, click in there. Yeah, beg pardon. Just click anywhere in there so it comes up, the record comes up to your left.
Do I need to close this for it to come up with something?
If you click on the icon, maybe. There you go, click on the icon.
Oh, it's not doing anything. It does normally.
Well, in that case, this is one of those famous cases where we do a quick refresh.
Okay.
So do a refresh. Looks like you've got the address space turned on. You can turn that off too if you don't need it any longer.
Yeah.
There you go. So now select a layer and right click on your building. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Right. If you look at those 3 little dots at the top there, the S, click on that. Data extract, click on that. And then you say, so where do you want to extract from? So you could just say, for instance, your building contents is a good one. And then just say run down the bottom. Yeah, you can filter it if you wish to, but usually you don't. So just run it.
Yeah, I don't think I have
nothing in there. Okay,
no, I think I've only got buildings and
land
at the moment. Where would land?
This is one of those cases where you can just type in the first few letters.
Oh, of course.
That saves you a lot of time. So yep, run your land report. And there you go. You own the Community Arts Centre. Brilliant. So the point I was going to say on this is, I think there's another choice besides the exporting. Well, there's the filtering, which we've mentioned already. That's it. Yep. Okay. So that's the end of the formal part of the training session. What I usually do in the active bit where you do the work, as if you haven't been doing all the work so far, is to play with geolocation. And this is a wonderful tool, which is fun to do, which is where you use your smartphone to take photographs of items. Are you familiar with that? Or is this a new idea?
No, this is a new.
Okay, so this is fun to do, Georgie. You can use your telephone to add photographs of your various objects to your database. So let's suppose you've got a list of all the park benches in Sevenoaks, and you now want to take a photograph of each of them. What you can do is flash up the browser in your phone and run Parish Online.
Okay.
And then if you turn on geolocation, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. In fact, we did this yesterday. You go down to the bottom of the left of the bottom row, the 3 vertical dots, just to the right of the left-hand column. Yep, click on there, turn on geolocation. Good. Yeah, let it know. Okay.
No.
Have you got a phone there with you?
Yes, I'm not logged on it.
Okay, well, we won't waste the time, but the point is that turning on the geolocation means that as you walk around with your phone, it will adjust the Parish Online map as you walk. So it's a bit like
cool,
Google
yeah.
Maps, just like Google Maps, but it's doing it with your entire database. So when you go and stand in front of a park bench, the system knows where you are. And because the park bench is already an asset in your asset register, it's got that as well. So if you now take a photograph of the bench, that photograph will end up in your asset register in the right place, which is, I think it's really sweet. So if you go up to your cogwheel in the top right corner, click on help and support, click on geolocation as a search, so GEOLO, yep. And you, going down the bottom, right, that video there, it only takes about 4 minutes, and it's really fun to see A, what he's doing, and B, how he does it. And then it's even more fun to go out and do it yourself.
Yeah.
If you're too busy to go out there, I have to confess, I use all of our school children. So I went to the local school and said, look, all of your 6-year-olds have a phone, don't they? And they said, yes. They said, well, why don't you load them up with Parish Online, send them out and take photographs of all the bus shelters in the village. And the kids thought this was wonderful. You know, they go out in these crocodiles anyway to get sort of a breath of fresh air every now and again. Now we're sending them out all excited and buzzing. And you'd be amazed what comes back, because lots of people think that park benches look like streetlights, or the bus shelter was actually the village water pump, or whatever it was. It was very entertaining, but it was a fun way of getting the kids involved. They learn about digital mapping. They get all enthused about what the parish council does. And so, you're just having fun. The school teachers love you because you've given them something exciting for the kids to do. And the kids love it because, they think that their school teacher is really the ace of spades because she gives them fun things to do.
So what layer would that end up being on that they're doing it on? Would that be on parish, or that would be on assets? It would be on parish, maybe?
They can do it on the asset register.
Okay. But then would you run the risk of having...
So this is why I suggest you need to go through the video when you've got your own phone all lined up and you've got 4 or 5 minutes spare. Watch the video and he shows you how to bring up the appropriate layer on the phone.
Okay. And
then when the kids stand in front of the park bench or the street bus shelter, or you do, whatever it happens to be, you can go ahead and try it out. It's fun. It's worth doing. The one thing to be advised of was, although you can enter the park bench when you're standing in front of it into Parish Online, it's a real pain in the neck to do it on that small screen with that small keyboard. You're much better off putting in all your park benches at your computer beforehand, and then when you go out and you walk around with your phone, it'll know when you've arrived in front of a park bench because it's already in the system.
Okay, so yeah.
When you take a photograph of it, it'll add it to the asset register in the right place. And it just ends up as an attachment for that record. It's really sweet. You want to do that? When it's a nice day, when it's sunshiny, and or for you, if it's a gloomy, cloudy, rainy day and you're bored stiff and you want to get out, then go out and say, I'm just going to go and add to our asset register.
What a great idea.
Yeah, you see?
Go to a park and add every single blade of grass to the asset register.
Well, you'd be amazed how many people end up taking photographs of their knees or their legs or something, because they've got, the camera can either point towards you or away from you. They often take it the wrong way around. Anyway, that's the asset manager, or the asset register, sorry. Yeah. That's also, we've discussed geolocation, which is the key word for you to remember to type into the knowledge base to find out as I say, I think the video that Chris has done for geolocation is particularly good. It's lots of fun. It's crystal clear. And I like the technique he uses to show you what he's putting into his screen. It's very good. So
great.
We're all done. Do we have any questions that you need answering?
I don't think so. As soon as we hang up, I'll probably have some. Or like after I've practiced it a bit.
There you go.
But the geolocation
come back
good.
to me.
Yeah.
We're going to see you again anyway on Monday, aren't we?
Yeah.
So looking forward to it, and have a very good rest of the week.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Good to see you. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
Georgie.